Nutmeg Junction proudly presents Barnaby Druthers. Barnaby Druthers, London's second favorite detective, investigates mysteries with his intellectual partner, Harper Thorne. The classic Victorian-era tales take place in Victorian London, while modern Druthers stories take place in modern-day America. Right here on Barnaby Druthers.
This is a work of fiction. Any situations or similarities between any person or persons living or dead are completely coincidental. On one of the coldest mornings in winter, the voice of Schlock Jock Jayden was broadcast from the non-commercial Two Harbors community radio station for one final time.
Good morning, panic roomies. It's a bit cold out there in Two Harbors, the city with a spare harbor for you, the little city with big dreams. Am I right? I know it's cold right here in the morning panic room. It's so cold, even my dad would have turned the thermostat up 2 degrees. Folks, this is Schlock Jock Jayden in the panic room, coming to your ears and reaching into your brains and heart from your favorite radio station, Two Harbors Community Radio, and I'm about to hit you with an oldie but goodie, courtesy of your favorite morning host, Schlock Jock Jayden.
The listening audience would never hear the voice of Schlock Jock Jayden again. By the time the record reached the end, so had the life of morning host Jayden Tarten. The death was determined to be the result of natural causes, a heart attack, but questions lingered. 2 months later, those questions were put to 2 investigators who arrived at the Two Harbors community radio station. Those investigators were Harper Thorne and Barnaby Druthers.
I'm ready to be interviewed, if they insist, of course.
They might play music at this hour, Barnaby.
Music? I suppose I could be convinced to sing Rule Britannia.
Can I convince you not to?
I wouldn't dream of requiring my voice to be heard on the radio. But if the public demands it, I'm sure you'll just soldier on. You have much practice with that custom, Miss Thorne.
Hey, 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 come on in. Welcome to the station.
This is Harper Thorne. My name is Barnaby Druthers. Perhaps you've heard of me.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm Parker Mackie, host of the Midnight Fever Dream Show from midnight to 2. The best of the 70s when music mattered. Have you been to a radio station before?
Many times, but never at this station specifically.
Many times. Glad to meet another fan of radio. I've always been big on radio. Do you know what my partner says about me?
That you have a face for radio?
Ouch. I guess it must be true.
Not at all. But as Miss Thorne advised, we've been to many radio stations, and we know that phrase would be referenced.
Every radio station, every time.
Hello, Mr. Druthers, Miss Thorne. Thank you for coming. I'm Ash Valentine. We spoke on the phone.
Are they here about the Jayden situation?
Yes. Don't you read my emails?
Not since I blocked you.
Parker, let's keep your personality persona for the airwaves.
Ash hates me because I have a personality.
That's not the only reason.
And the feeling became mutual once I got to know Ash personally.
Are you in charge here, Ash?
Well, Cameron Fox is the station manager. I'm operations director and acting program director. I was told to invite you both here, so I've done what was asked. I'm not certain it's necessary, but when the boss says to do something, it's done. So here we are.
From the tone of your voice, it seems you believe the boss could make better decisions. Do you think you should be the station manager now, or at least someday?
There's no rush. This is community radio, so it pays the same.
And by that you mean you're all volunteers.
Everyone is here for the love of radio.
Or some for the love of their own voice, perhaps.
We can't help it if the public demands our voice, am I right? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit over there and catalog the new albums that came in, even though we don't have access to the record player anymore.
There's no question there are those who love the spotlight. Jayden was one of them. We all love Jayden. Here we hung on the office door a framed photo of Jayden sitting in the live studio.
His sweatshirt says, Schlock Jock Jayden.
The whole Schlock Jock and morning panic room shtick wasn't for me, but we service all tastes here. Ah, here comes Elliot.
Elliot Barnweather, Two Harbors Community Radio News. Serious news for serious times.
Sounds quite serious.
Two Harbors Community Radio provides the means to communicate vital information to the community.
Nothing more vital than playing some Graveyard Purple.
There's a place for that noise, far down on the dial. On another station. We can do better. If I had my way, we would be 24-hour talk.
Boring.
Could the community support a 24-hour talk station?
There's always something to talk about around here. Hey, y'all.
Hey, Cody.
Hey, Cody.
Did I miss anything?
Hey,
Just Parker being Parker, so no, you didn't miss anything.
That's why being late is right on time around here.
Except for air times and the station IDs, of course. We give our station ID every hour on the hour. Timing is very important.
Thanks for taking the joy out of every joke, Elliot.
Barnaby, Harper, this is Cody Wallace of the Down on the Ranch with Cody show, our country rockabilly program.
Do you have one program for every genre of music?
Not necessarily, but we're not stuck in one format. Commercial stations often play one format and stay in their lanes. But Two Harbors Community Radio, variety means we can change the format by the hour. Like Sage has a jazz show. I saw Sage heading in as I was coming in.
Hey, everyone. I'm just going to slide in here if the chair isn't taken.
a smooth entrance for a smooth operator.
Sage's Smooth Jazz program airs at noon. Sage, this is Harper Thorne and Barnaby Druthers.
Do you like jazz, Mr. Druthers?
In a way. Sometimes I don't know when a song is over or when it starts or what's happening in the middle, but other times it's quite lovely, except when it's not.
Then you should listen to my show. You'll get an education.
That's why we're here. We're here to learn.
Are all the programmers here, Ash?
Oh! Coyote Finn!
Coyote Finn joining the pack.
Finn Summers, also known as Coyote Finn, has a classic rock show on the weekend.
That's when the coyote howls. Ow!
Everyone's here but Bryce Radcliffe.
Bryce wasn't feeling well yesterday, I know that. It could be why Bryce isn't here now.
You are rather good at sharing news, aren't you, Elliot?
I'm better than good. I'm the best.
Where is Cameron Fox, your station manager?
I'm here. Sorry, I was in the office. Thank you for getting things started, Ash.
You asked me to set it up, Cameron, so I did. But I don't really know the reason why.
We'll go over that shortly. Thank you for coming, Mr. Druthers. Ms. Thorne, should we go around the room and introduce ourselves?
I think we have it. You're Cameron Fox, station manager. Ash Valentine is operations manager and acting program director. Elliot Barnweather does the news. Parker Mackie hosts the Midnight 70s show. Cody Wallace has the country show. Sage Jones has the jazz performance. Coyote Finn plays rock, and Bryce Radcliffe is not in attendance.
And one of you is a killer. Or maybe not. But it does get the blood pumping, eh, what?
Barnaby Druthers and Harper Thorne are guests of a community radio station where fabled morning DJ known as Schlock Jock Jayden passed away. All but one of the surviving members of the station's programmers and staff are assembled, while the guests tour the small but mighty Two Harbors community radio station.
Marvelous little room you have here.
This is the production studio. All our promotions and show prep can be produced here. Anything that's not live.
The live programming is done somewhere else?
In the live studio. Here, let me show you.
It is unfortunate that the death of the DJ occurred in the live studio. Too soon? Yes, perhaps it's too soon for that sort of thing.
We are deeply sorry for your loss and offer condolences. We're here on a fact-finding mission at your request, so we'd like to talk to all of you today.
Hey, the police said that Jayden died of a heart attack, so really, I don't know why we're all here for this.
Well, Cody, sometimes it's helpful to get a fresh perspective from the outside, yes?
This was my idea. I think it's important to clear the air and resolve this so we can all move forward as a station. I'll be interviewed first.
Age before beauty.
Keep it up, Parker. Keep it up and watch what happens.
Or the acting program director is going to make changes. You're wielding the program director's power just like Jayden used to. Surprised you haven't fired me yet.
Okay, let's just get on with it.
Ow! Woo! The Coyote should have proud solo today.
So this is the live studio? It's empty now.
Since Bryce isn't here, we're running automation now.
Then we shall conduct our interviews here, starting with you, as suggested, Cameron. Cameron Fox, how long have you been station manager here?
7 years.
And is the station in the red or the black?
It's community radio. It's non-profit, so we need to cover the rent, electricity, license fees, and maintenance of equipment should the need arise. We do fundraisers as needed, but we don't have to worry about making a profit.
The station is run on an all-volunteer basis. That includes the deceased Jayden. Jayden was a volunteer, but the Panic Room's morning commute time slot was still considered prime real estate on the radio dial, yes?
It is a good time to be on the air, but the programmers all have different hours, and anyone who works a first shift daytime job wouldn't want the morning commute time anyway. Some prefer the nighttime, and their shows are scheduled accordingly.
Did anyone at the station have a reason to harm Jayden Tarten?
I don't think anyone did, but if they did, it would had to have been personal. I think Sage had a personal relationship with Jayden. Others may have had some relationships of their own too, but I don't get involved with that sort of thing. In fact, forget I even said it. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I hope whatever happened had nothing to do with the station.
You hope it's not the case, but do you believe it's not the case, Cameron?
No, I'm not certain. That's why you're here.
What's taking so long? I should be working on my reports.
It may take some time for Barnaby to conduct his interviews, but interviews are the vital cornerstones of our investigation.
Nobody's stopping you from working on your reports now, Elliot.
I could be out in the field getting stories.
I thought you just scrolled for gossip on the internet.
Social media is a vital source of information, but that information must be corroborated in the field.
Thanks, Walter Cronkite. If you're such a good reporter, why didn't you report about the suspicions surrounding Jayden's murder?
Oh, Parker, don't you have anything better to do than to stir up trouble?
You don't know it was murder. It was ruled a heart attack. That's it.
Nobody has a motive for murder.
Well,
What, Elliot?
not all of us had a relationship with Jayden that went south, right, Sage?
I don't have to get into any of my business with you, but I will say you were the one the most against Jayden's show. You said it brought our image in the community down.
I wasn't the only thing to think so, right, Cody?
Don't bring me into this. Hey, look, Bryce is actually at the door.
Sorry I'm late. Should I get on the air now?
I'd say better late than never, but in Bryce's case, that's not necessarily true.
Nobody asked your opinion, Parker.
You're not going on the air now, Bryce. The private detective Barnaby Druthers is in the live studio now.
Oh, well, if I'm not going to get on the air, I've got things to do.
Sit down, Bryce. We're all going to talk to the PIs. If I have to do it, so do you.
Ash, you're up next.
So you're the program director, Ash Valentine.
Acting program director. A program director selects the programs that are suitable for our station.
Not everyone who wants a show gets one?
It's community radio, but not community access radio. There are standards we follow, guidelines established in our mission statement. Some show ideas are not in keeping with those standards or guidelines. We keep our programming of the highest professional quality.
As I sit here in the live studio, I'm cognizant that this is where Schlock Jock Jayden sat. Is that not so?
Just Jayden, please.
The room seems different from the photo of the fellow when we came in. Something's missing.
Jayden had his records scattered on the desk when doing the show. He loved vinyl.
That's what's different. Where's the record player?
It was removed back into the office. Now that a lot of the music is online, we use audio files. Some like to use CDs.
Why was it removed?
It wasn't needed. Only Jayden and Parker use it anyway, and we probably will be making some scheduling changes in the future.
Meanwhile, back in the main area of the radio station, the tempers of the programmers begin to flare while Harper silently observes.
I don't see why we all have to sit here like suspects.
Nobody's forcing you to be here, Bryce.
But we'd all start thinking you have something to hide if you run away.
Nobody suspects me of anything, and I don't think that sounded the way I meant.
Didn't you want the morning time slot, Parker? Sounds like a motive to me.
What about you, Elliot? You wanted to be the program director badly. That's a motive, too. If you were in charge of programming, you'd get rid of the morning DJ slot so that you could do a news show.
No, that's not precisely accurate. To be clear, I'd get rid of all of you and we'd have news and talk 24/7. But that's not worth killing anyone over.
Then, I guess as strange as it is for me to say, it's a good thing Ash is in that role after all.
Barnaby Druthers is all set with me. Harper, he wants a quick word.
Very well.
Although the majority of those seated in the room were accustomed to speaking at great lengths, both on and off the microphone, they sat in relative silence until Harper returned.
He'll speak to Parker next. Cameron, I'd like to look inside your office if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Ah, Papa Mackie, the face of radio.
The way you say that sounds hurtful, Mr. Druthers.
No disparagement was intended, I assure you. I meant to break the ice. You had the midnight show. Tell me, are there any other programs that air after yours?
I switch it over to automation until Jayden, now that's Bryce, basically until the morning person comes in.
Your show features songs from the 70s.
When music mattered.
Yes, you said that. Where do you get your music for your playlist?
On the internet, mostly. I used to play some records, but Ash took away the record player. Said we didn't need it with Jayden gone.
Why did Ash do that?
Ash hates me. That's common knowledge. First thing that was said when you came here. I don't care. I still get to play my music, even though we have a change in program directors.
The office within a community radio station is a bit cramped and full of equipment.
It's as organized as it can be. You're seeing behind the scenes of a station.
Was this record player removed from the live studio?
Yes. Why are you putting gloves on, Harper?
As a precaution. Tell me, when a DJ plays a record, do they lift the needle by the needle itself?
How do you mean?
Do they lift using the cartridge, or could they have their finger under the needle when they lift it?
It depends on the person using it, I guess.
How often is the needle replaced?
I didn't replace it, but if the needle gets worn down with use, the DJ could replace it.
This needle appears to be very sharp. It's new, and it's sharp enough to puncture the skin. Can I see an old needle? Don't touch it, just show me where one is.
I think we'd throw the old ones away when they're done. Here's a package of new ones.
The needle on the record player is sharper than those in the package, and it's discolored. There's something on it. I have supplies in my bag, and I'm going to run some tests. But if my suspicions are correct, I fear something is very wrong at your station.
As the day wore on, Harper Thorne and Barnaby Druthers learned more information about the programmers and the station. Sage and Jayden had a relationship that broke off amicably, according to Sage, and there was no evidence to the contrary. The station was in more financial difficulty that Cameron Fox had led on, but this was not unusual for a nonprofit, non-commercial station. Bryce Radcliffe, the programmer who arrived late, was the last to be interviewed.
Bryce Radcliffe, what is your program called?
The Rad Life.
Very clever. And what is the genre of your show?
It's eclectic. I can play anything that suits my mood.
What's interesting is that each programmer documents their playlist for the station. Apparently, this has to do with licensing. For instance, in February of last year, you played Love Avalanche by Tina Tall. Blinded by Love by the Druids, Love Loser by Jimmy Fricks, and so on. One can see the mood you were in just by the selection.
It's common to play love songs on Valentine's Day.
Your selections point to a particular mood. I mention it because on the night after Jayden died, you played Sinner by the Ravels, Guilty Conscience by Iris Marigold.
It doesn't mean anything, they're just songs.
But did they reflect your mood?
It reflected a mood, not necessarily mine.
Did you play them off vinyl?
What? No, I have the CDs. Why?
Did you remove the record player or ask to have it removed and put it in the office?
I didn't even think of the record player one way or the other, and only management has the key to the offices anyway. Look, I don't appreciate your accusatory tone.
You seem a tad agitated.
I'm not agitated, I just don't need this. I'm leaving.
Well, I could have sworn that was agitation.
Barnaby, I did the test and our suspicions were correct.
Thank you, Miss Thorne. Could you make that phone call we discussed earlier?
Absolutely.
Very good. Now, as I see everyone is gathered together, I think it's time to bring the matter to a successful conclusion.
It's about time this whole farce ended.
Good. I want to get a good nap. Oh, before tonight's show.
Please, everyone, we want to hear what Mr. Druthers and Ms. Thorne have to say.
Go on then. Tell us if you've come to a conclusion.
Well, the first thing you should know is that Jayden Tarten died of a heart attack, and it was the result of natural causes. Before we arrived, we verified that the coroner's toxicology report that there were no known poisons or substances in the system. There was no sign of foul play.
If you knew this already, why did we all have to be interviewed?
Because a crime was attempted. The would-be assassin's attempt was disrupted by the untimely death of the morning host. Our time here has prevented a future tragedy. Miss Thorne, as you have no doubt made the phone call we spoke of, perhaps you can take over.
Is it your position that the would-be assassin is still in this room?
Seated with all of you in this room is a killer at heart, a would-be murderer.
What's going on? What are you saying?
The instrument of harm was the record player.
Well, I don't use the record player at all. I just do the news. It has nothing to do with me.
Is this some joke where the music I play kills joy or something? Because if this is all a bad joke, and I know a thing or two about bad jokes, I won't be happy.
It is not a bad joke. It is deadly serious. And you, Parker Mackie, were the intended victim.
The needle on the player was replaced by a very sharp needle soaked in poison. If the needle was lifted by the victim's finger, the needle would poke through the skin.
I suspected something strange had happened, but couldn't put my finger on it. No pun intended.
Your playlist signified your suspicions. You were sending someone who was listening a message.
Are you saying Bryce isn't the would-be killer? If Bryce isn't, then who is?
The answer is quite simple.
It's you, Ash Valentine.
You hated Parker Mackie, and you knew only 2 programmers would use the record player, and Parker would use it first. But Parker didn't die. Jayden did. You thought you killed Jayden accidentally. You hid the player in the office, for only you and Cameron have the keys to the office.
My God. Can't be possible. Ash, tell us it's not true.
You're awfully silent, Ash.
You have no proof.
That's not a great defense. Ash, until all this is sorted out, I'm going to need your keys to the office back.
You'll get nothing. Nothing, I tell you, nothing.
If the program director position is available,
Not now, Elliot, not now.
The police are here.
Thank you for calling them, Miss Thorne. I apologize, my friends, but I believe we're all in for another round of questioning by the authorities before things return to normal here at your community radio station.
Days later, the arrest of Ash Valentine was reported as a scoop by Elliot Barnesweather. There was a plea deal made with a full confession. In time, the community and life at the Two Harbors Community Radio Station returned to normal, and Barnaby and Harper Thorne were welcomed back to be interviewed on air by Bryce Radcliffe.
Welcome back to the station and to Two Harbors, Mr. Druthers and Miss Thorne. I hope your visit here this time is more pleasant.
Preparing for an interview is less work than conducting a private inquiry. But one always wants to put one's best foot forward. Is that not so, Miss Thorne?
Indubitably, Barnaby. We know recent events have put something of a spotlight on the station, but we assure you this is an isolated incident. All of our interactions with community radio stations have been lovely.
I concur. We look forward to returning to this wonderful community in the future if the need arises. And when we do, we hope we can speak with you all right here over the airwaves on this amazing resource known as community radio.
Nice job, everybody.
We can keep that as a hot take.
Barnaby Druthers, Death Comes for the DJ. Written, created, and produced by J. Timothy Quirk. Directed by A.J. Lynn. Production by Fran Kaliher. Music by Robert C. Fullerton and Bob Eccleston. With Humphry Rolleston and Devon Richtmeyer. Featuring the voices of Michelle Miller, Leo Babeu, John Krengel, Erika Adams, Richmond Scharf, Sherri Q, Shane Dickey, Janet Krengel, Mary Crodier, and Tom Kohler. This has been a production of Barnaby Druthers Audio Theater and the team at KTWH Community Radio. This program, Death Comes to the DJ, has been a special audio theater presentation and was a joint production by the Nutmeg Junction Barnaby Druthers Audio Theater team and by the extraordinary team who provides community radio to their listeners at KTWH, Two Harbors, Minnesota. If you enjoyed this production of Barnaby Druthers, Death Comes to the DJ, please let the station know, and we will be certain to write a special episode to celebrate this marvelous community this year. On behalf of the Barnaby Druthers team and on behalf of KTWH LP, thank you for listening and stay tuned for more quality programming on this station.